The Boys on Amazon Prime. Season 2 wrapped up this past Friday. We talked about first episode when it dropped 8 weeks back. Now that season 2 is wrapped up, Dave, I just wanted to check in with you and see, did season 2 of The Boys meet your expectation after a really strong season 1?
Huh.
Did it hold up?
I mean, yeah, I think I probably just calibrated expectations for The Boys. I think it's pretty clear that this is a show that's confident in its ability to continue its existence. It was renewed for season 3 before season 2 came out. We know there's a fast track spin-off show about Vought Superhero College, which sounds really cool, honestly. Just superhero kids fucking and killing each other. It sounds pretty good. But if you think about like the plot, the narrative of this 8-episode season for The Boys season 2, I guess it's pretty down the middle, straightforward. Nothing's too surprising until a 11th hour twist in the finale, and you have your standard like B plots, split up the characters, do some stuff. But at the end of the day, we're kind of going to the only logical endpoint there was, which was Stormfront not surviving the season. And if you think about it, like her becoming a full-fledged out in the open villain took a very long time to happen. So the season really took its time to progress. Mm-hmm. But I still really like the hang that is The Boys, even though it's a really grim and dark and gory show pretty consistently. But yeah, I mean, it feels like something that's we're going to have for the long run, right? Like Homelander's not going to die. They're not going to go get Homelander, you know, in the middle of the show's run. So I guess it depends what you want. As far as like the commentary stuff, I like though.
Yeah, I think certain aspects of it were a little bit, not as interesting as season 1 to me. A lot of the stuff with Huey and Starlight, I found myself a little bit like, not so interested in Huey, especially. They really seem like they're setting up that his like kindness is his superpower type of commentary, which
sure.
Or his empathy or humanity. I'm not really sure, but that seems to be like what they're setting up, especially as like a foil or a sidekick to Bill Butcher. I thought some of the most interesting stuff actually came with Butcher's wife and his child, and Homelander's relationship with him, and kind of what that brings out in Homelander's background, and exploring that a little bit more. And I also was really interested at the end of the season with the Congresswoman, who is obviously being set up to be, I don't know if it's going to be the next villain or what her role will be in season 3, but definitely a very important role. But I think for this show, because like you said, a lot of it is very standard, it was the moments, like when they break into that hospital where all of the, I guess like superheroes gone wrong or being held.
The Vought test subjects.
Yes, the Vought test subjects. Or, at the end of the penultimate episode when all the heads just start blowing up at the congressional hearing, like, or even like you were kind of saying, like that 12th hour, 11th hour twist in the finale when Maeve shows up, and kind of like saves the day in a sense. But like that showdown I thought was pretty cool, where you finally see like the 3 superheroes kind of fighting against the one like major superhero. There was some interesting stuff there. The commentary you mentioned though, tell me about that. Like what did you find that really hit with that, and what didn't so much?
I mean, I think it's just the familiarity of what Stormfront and then Homelander's plan of attack was with wooing public opinion. The rhetoric, the posturing, the dog whistling. It's all unfortunately playbooks we know well at this point. And seeing that kind of like fanaticism, and then like again how they slow play Stormfront as someone who ultimately is a huge bigot, and then you actually learn is actually also a literal Nazi, and not just like a new Nazi, but literally a Nazi from when the Nazis began. Like we used to rub elbows with Goebbels and the like. It's like, oh shit, okay, yeah, she's like really really bad. We get it, but
Mm-hmm.
like even before that, it's like when she's using like memes to manipulate people and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, a familiar thing. So I kind of I like seeing those things, and the way she manipulated Homelander, and then like they start like getting it on, but like you see that she has him where she wants him, and then when her past is exposed, Homelander is so devoid of any empathy that he barely reacts to said revelation, and then just fuck
Mm-hmm.
again, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of seeing that how they layer the characters was good. And I think like if you think about the subplots of the show, there's a lot because we're kind of keeping the entire cast from the first season, right? And I think like anything else, not all of them will hit as well as the other ones. I was actually surprised how much I like the stuff with the Deep and A Train, because I was really unsure of where those characters would go,
Mm-hmm.
be feeling so removed from the main mix. But I actually kind of liked how that concluded. And again, like seeing like when Vought forcibly outs Maeve, right? And you see that kind of stuff again, like Homelander's lack of empathy. But then even from the corporation, it's like, well, yeah, Maeve's bi, but lesbians pull better, so you're going to be a
Mm-hmm.
lesbian now. It's like the show does it a lot, where it has like all these moments where like it grounds like the supreme like meta nature of like the Vought and like the world of the boys. But yeah, I think it's like those little moments, those little quips that stick with me the most. Even just like baseline like funny stuff, like those gangsters talking about the metaphor of Hamilton cast being people of color.
Yep.
It's and which is fun to hear because uh, early in the episode, Stormfront's urging a very anti-immigration stance earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So it's stuff like that. Also, I like seeing Shawn Ashmore
Yeah.
as like playing like a pyro character who we of course know as Iceman in the Singer X-Men movies. So stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah. It does a really interesting job of looping in like current commentary. I almost feel like the Nazi America stuff, um, as uncomfortable as it's just uncomfortable because it's so real at this point. Like, what I mean, we are 2 weeks away, or 2 weeks past our current president failing to denounce white supremacy.
That's
And
right.
um,
Just
having
another day.
having the whole plot of the show basically being how like Nazis are secretly like building up this potential comeback in the country, and not really even that secret in a lot of ways. It's just a little bit disheartening in some ways, but I do think they do a really good job of making some of the commentary on social media, on in the industry of celebrity,
Yeah.
really pointed and well. And you also mentioned the layering of the character development, and I feel like they also do a really good job of that. And I think especially with someone like Butcher, who I feel like in the first season could be very one note. They do a really good job of expounding on that this season, though I didn't always find it to be the most interesting parts of the show. Hearing more about his background. There was a whole episode where it was kind of like diving into everybody's parental backgrounds a little bit and like family histories a little bit. And I thought his was the one that made the most sense, especially as like his dynamic with Huey was kind of feeling played out, but then seemed to
Yeah.
gain a little bit of meaning as they kind of highlighted how Huey's like the replacement for his brother who died. So I think the writing on the show is good, but like you said, I think they know season 3 is coming back. They're just setting things up, kind of building it out for the long haul. I guess I had 2 questions, and one of them came from, or I guess that both of them came from our friend of the podcast, Sean McKenna. The first, Stormfront. We do
Mm-hmm.
not actually see her die. She's like Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
Do you think she's gonna get the Anakin treatment here?
That's funny. That's certainly possible. When we see the last thing we see of Homelander is him jerking off on top of some building, right?
Yep.
I literally thought he was like violating Stormfront or something.
I wouldn't have been
her
surprised.
Corpse in that moment. That's what I immediately jumped to because we know how fucked up he is, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. From what Aya Cash has said to the press, it seemed like she was attracted to this role because it was not a serious regular role.
Mhm.
And after being on You're the Worst for such a long time, she's happy to jump in and out of stuff like this and Easy and Fosse Verdon, right? So maybe she comes back in the future, but she's definitely not going to be a major presence. I think that's pretty safe. Um, but could come back the same way like Simon Pegg as Huey's dad could
Yeah.
eventually come back, you know? But yeah, and that's, I mean, like they clearly set up uh, Claudia Domit's uh,
Mhm.
congresswoman character
Yeah.
to be a at least like subtle antagonist for the start of the next season. And you
Yeah.
know we still have Esposito as the head of Vought in play, and that Soup that escaped the hospital, who was really powerful. She got picked up by the hitchhiker, so she's out
Mhm.
there. You know, so I don't think we're gonna get back to Stormfront anytime soon.
Yeah. I agree with you on that, but it was interesting because if you don't see him die, there's always that
Sure.
possibility. Second, I mean, the Homelander at this point is like teetering on the edge, if not now pushed over the edge. And the only words that have been told to Anthony Starr in terms of the character for next season is homicidal maniac. Kind of crazy that we haven't seen homicidal maniac Homelander. We've seen some visions of him like
Yeah.
torching a crowd with his eyes.
Very striking.
um, expectations for him next season.
Yeah, I mean, like I really like when we get into the psyche of him and we show like even his background, his upbringing as someone like crafted in a lab for all intents and purposes, and
Mm-hmm.
the social cues he didn't have, and how now he sees himself as an infallible person because for many respects he is that, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
um, he doesn't have he doesn't have any real allies, right? So I don't even know what his motivations will be moving forward because he wants power and adoration above all else. So he wants to stay with Vought. The last scene press conference kind of suggests that he's going to play ball like that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I feel like once you have him be openly murderous or whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a bridge you cannot back off.
Right.
You know, like we got like the footage of him on the plane from season 1 and like killing people overseas from a phone and stuff. But like if he does shit in the open again, like the current time that people immediately know about, I feel like the show has permanently transitioned to him being a full on villain for everybody involved. So I think that probably will happen at one point, but I don't think we're close to that yet.
Yeah, I think we'll see him doing a lot of just like really fucked up shit without being caught on it or blatantly caught. Maybe like another super will see it, but not want to expose
Mm-hmm.
him still or be afraid to. Um, but I don't, like you said, I think once he decides to go full bad, then the show is pretty much moving into its final stage. So
Yeah.
you kind of
Yeah.
have to expect that.
You know, given that The Boys is so good at lampooning superhero culture and adoration and
Mm-hmm.
satirizing so many aspects of it, I think there's actually a great opportunity to do that with Stormfront with that question. Hey, is Stormfront still alive? And then to be like, no, dude, did you see what happened to her? Well, I didn't see her die. It's like, dude, like she got
Mm-hmm.
like severed in half. Like she's
Yeah,
dead. Like something
that
like off the cuff 2 lines like that could actually be a really funny, again, like comment on, you know, like did the person die?
yeah.
Did you stay for the end credits? Shit like that, you know?
That's actually a really funny idea. I'm also interested to see if they ever pull in like a Batman type character, someone that doesn't actually have superpowers, but
Right.
kind of like has enough money to like build all this equipment and act like
Sure.
he is a super. I feel like
I
there
mean,
could be funny
do we
commentary.
even know what Black Noir's powers are?
No,
He's just kind of a
super
whoa
strength, I think,
machine.
and
Yeah, I guess.
yeah,
I can't tell if it's just like bulletproof armor or if he's actually like this like big unit. Like I don't know,
yeah,
but he's low key menacing. Um,
yeah.
yeah, he's cool.
Although he's given the work a bit at the house
Yeah,
there, Butcher's house. So
yeah. Um, I'll shout out John Noble who makes a cameo as Butcher's dad.
mhm.
That's a Lord of the Rings reunion, which I really enjoyed. Of course, Éomer and Denethor. Really liked seeing that. Uh, and also Claudia Domet, who plays the Congresswoman. I knew her from the mocap she did in Call of Duty last year as Farah. So, and
Hmm.
watching the season, I was like, oh, she seemed like someone who was an actor on the rise. This is kind of a small part. Should have known that more was in store for her, because I did like her a lot. Kind of like a soft, like AOC stand-in almost, but really just kind of an engaged congressman person. So I like
Yeah.
how, like, I feel like we need these bureaucratic figures on the show, because we've kind of lost them, right? The original head of Vought, that CIA lady who got her head blown up. Like, we've been losing people, so we kind of need these presences. It's not just the Vought people and just the boys. There needs to be a little more, I think, to keep the world feeling fleshed out. And like the whole thing with the church, right? Like, we kind of lost that guy at the end there. Like, I didn't really. I feel like they could have done more with the presence of that, but I still liked where the Deep and A Train got to at the end of the day, so I
Hmm.
guess it's okay. Was there any
Yeah.
subplots you didn't really care for? Or?
And I think the church stuff I didn't really care too much for. I also feel like we've really gotten away from I'm forgetting their names, but Butcher's kind of like right hand men.
Of
And
Frenchie and
yeah,
Mother's Milk.
yes, I feel like we've really gotten away from them and their backstory, and I find them enjoyable. But sometimes when we go to Frenchie and the Asian
Kimiko.
super, yeah, Kamiko, it's not my favorite stuff. But I
Y-
do like Kamiko as a character, though.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more in that bone we haven't got yet, like between their
Yeah.
relationship. And like she loses her brother early on. Her brother's painted as this, super terrorist, right? And like,
Mhm.
she still only gets a few moments where she's gonna like sign stuff to Frenchie, but like, yeah, they definitely feel like afterthoughts a bit as far
Yeah.
as the ensemble goes.
Uh, can't wait for it to come back. We do know third season's coming. It's probably sometime next year. I'm hoping the same point. Um, I don't know, Dave. Any last thoughts on the boys?
Definitely, like I said before, I'm very into this spin-off idea.
Yeah,
So I think that that's a great potential. So looking
I
forward
agree.
to anything that comes back. I mean, I feel like this is a show, from what we know, this is kind of a longer shoot, a lot of outdoor stuff. They're wearing superhero costumes after all. So I don't know how COVID friendly production
Right.
on the show is. So it might be longer than normal for season 3. I know it wasn't. Well, actually, wait, they might have already done work on it. I'm pretty sure they haven't, but yeah, hopefully it's not too long.
Also, shout out to the soundtrack. I feel like consistently throughout they had a good mix of like newer but not so popular songs and some old school hits, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely some great drops with that stuff. So um, overall, just a really impressive show, and I'm grateful for it as a alternative to HBO programming, because I feel like that's all we've been watching recently.
Sure. From what I see here, season 3 is scheduled to go into production February 1st. So we'll see if that sticks.